Welcome to this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast, where we look forward to shaving every day. Welcome to this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast, where we look forward to shaving every day. Welcome to episode 111 of the podcast. My name is Rick DeWeese. I'll be your host this week. All right, we're going to start off with sort of kind of I told you so. I warned you it was going to happen, and sure enough, it did. You'll have to listen just a little bit further in to see what I'm talking about. We throw in a shave of the day and a review of Rockers by Deluxe Shaving Company, a new soap that they've got, and it performs wonderfully. And I'll tell you all about that. A cool app. I used it on the way home. I was out last week, and on the way home used a new app. But yeah, it's cool. But at the same time, it got me to thinking. I found another Kickstarter. The last Kickstarter I found didn't turn out too good. I don't know if this one's going to get off the ground, but it is an interesting concept, and isn't it neat that people are trying to figure out ways to, get more for their money? Imagine that. Yeah, so then I got home after my trip, and I got busted. I'll tell you all about that. Apparently, I have been doing it all wrong. Yeah, I have been doing my neckties all wrong. I've been untying them incorrectly. There's a video out, and shows you how to do it right. And so we'll talk about that a little bit, too. I'll put a link to all this stuff in the show notes. Another thing that I found that was just absolutely amazing and kind of wondrous, and so I thought I'd throw it up and put it on in the show notes and talk about it a little bit. It's amazing what you can do with something as new and innovative as a 3D printer. Another shave of the day. A blog that's up there at the Sharpologist called The Standard Shave. It's a pretty good one. Tri-Blade's got sampler packs, and there's one that I may have to get. It's the Treat Carbon Steel sampler pack of all the different carbon steel blades that Treat makes. Well, seeing as how I've had good luck with the carbon steels that I've got so far from them, may have to give that one a try. We'll talk about that too. Throwing another shave of the day, Wednesday shave of the day. Finally, the dying breed of real men. A blog post that just about mirrors what I said back in episode 60 when I did the show titled The Demise of Men. Yeah, very similar in concept and, kind of sad and damning all at the same time, you know. Oh, well, it is what it is, I suppose. And anyhow, that's the show this week. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's kind of fun getting back into the swing of things after basically doing guerrilla podcasting in a hotel room last week. I had to go. My company sent me out of town because apparently I needed to get edumacated. And so hopefully I have achieved that. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe there's some things that you can't teach me. Anyhow, that's the show this week. Let's get on with it. Yep, we predicted it right here first, folks, and here you go from the Los Angeles Daily News. The L.A. Water Department and other utilities to raise water rates. Why? Well, because of the drought. Enjoying those lower water bills from 3-minute showers and your new drought-tolerant landscaping? Well, prepare to pay a little more to make up for your conservation. Throughout California, consumers have conserved during this 4-year drought and purchase less water from their utilities, leaving some water agencies operating in the red and drawing down reserves. Officials now say they need to pass some of the costs back to customers. So while everybody is jumping up and down on the table saying, oh my gosh, we got to conserve water, and the population does exactly what they're being asked to do by conserving water, what ends up happening? Your bill goes up. Ta-da! The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power will hike rates to cover some of its lost revenue, its civilian board decided Tuesday. Most Department of Water and Power customers will pay 4% more for water beginning in January. Ha! Okay, well, congratulations, California. Not only have you conserved water to the point where you're going to have to increase the rates on your people, and it's not like they said, ooh, don't use water because we're going to run out. They just said, ooh, we could run out, so conserve water. And so they do, and, here you go. It really makes you wonder, who runs these things anyhow? I mean, really? It's absolutely amazing. Maddening, in fact, because it doesn't just happen in California. And yeah, I'm making fun of California right now, but quite honestly, this kind of garbage goes on in our government systems everywhere, all the time. And they don't stop. It's not like if all of a sudden California got out of the drought that they would, give some of the money back. Oh, no. Because once you give them the money, then they get used to it, don't they? And then they want even more and more and more and more. And it really never does stop, does it? Oh, well, there you go. Congratulations, Californians. Another rate increase on the way. So we have made it through the weekend. We are on a Monday, and, let's talk about the shave of the day. Okay, so it's good to be back home. Truly is. Where I was okay. It was nice and all, but it's so much better to be back home. Just is. Anyhow, the shave of the day today. So last week I was using Lucky 13 and mods, and today I used rockers. Now, the interesting thing about it is that when I open it up and when I use it, all I really smell is grass. Kind of a vetiver type sweet grass, grass. And that's pretty much it the whole time. How you get rockers out of that is just, beyond me. But, okay. It is what it is. Anyhow, the soap itself performed great. And the couple of times that I used it, I found that a very good fit for an aftershave was a fine, clean vetiver. And, it's did a good job. Still using the carbon steel blade, the treat carbon steel blade. And in the Fat Boy, and seems to be doing a good job. And all in all, everything's going well. Good to be home. Good to be able to sit down and relax and just, have, all the comforts of home. There's a reason that they call it that. And, it is to be appreciated. If you don't appreciate what you have, leave it for a while. And when you come back, you kind of have a new outlook on things. And that's always a good thing. Anyhow, that was the shave of the day. So, after listening to my Monday shave of the day, I went and grabbed my Rockers soap and said, okay, is it still the same way? And yeah, it's still got a very strong, grassy scent. However, I just wanted to try something. And what I did is I took a toothpick and I basically scored the soap to see if there was more or a different scent profile hidden underneath. And what I found out is, yeah, there is, but it's still just overwhelmingly kind of a grassy smell. But there is a bit of a, almost a berry. And I would say, okay, maybe like a tropical flower and raspberry flavor under there. But it's slight and it's hidden. And for me, the predominant first note is maybe grass or even a little muddy grass, maybe some moss or something. But I'm hoping it'll evolve over time. As I get deeper down into this thing, I'm hoping it'll evolve. But, the first notes that I got out of it really were just a strong grass scent. Now, after scoring it, Yeah, it's a little better. It's a little better. It's a little bit more complex. The initial notes were not, and so that was something that, as I was sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, okay, why would anybody just make something that was just, strictly, a grassy scent, and like I said in the shave of the day, how does that relate to rockers anyhow? I don't get it. So I did a little bit more investigating, and so it's got a little bit of a berry scent to it, but still predominantly grass. I don't know. It's a great soap. I mean, it performs well. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my nose. I don't know. But that's what I found on it, and so I figured, well, I'd give you a report. So, I've been using a new app on my phone, and it's an interesting app. It's called Waze, and it's kind of like Google Maps, but with a social media type thing going on in it. And what it is it's a fairly easy interface. It's a map interface, and it allows people, as they're driving down the road, to report things like accidents or police or issues. And then those reports pop up on the screen so that you can tell that, if you are traveling, for example, in a big city, it will tell you where all of the issues are on the route that you are traveling. It's really kind of a unique little app. However, it's a free app. There are no ads that I have run into, but I gotta ask myself, what's in it for them? Okay, so it does ask for your, location information. As you can imagine, being a map, it needs your location information to work accurately, and if you make a report saying, hey, there's an accident in this area or wherever, it needs your location so that it can, link up and say, hey, this GPS location has this issue. Okay, I get all that. But what's in it for them? Where are they making their money? At the end of the day, having an app is nice, okay? But people don't make apps, for free. People don't make apps just, because they're, nice people. People make apps because it's a way of making money. So the question is, I have this nice app and it's very useful, just what's in it for them? How much of my information, of my travel information, of my routing information, are they then, selling? How much metadata, maybe not my name and my address and all this, but, general traffic patterns. How much of that are they in fact selling? Is this one of those things where they're looking to see, all right, are you on a routine basis, is everybody pretty much doing the same thing every day, day in and day out kind of thing, or are people traveling vast distances, or what? Just what's in it for them. So, it's very obvious when you have an app that throws up banners and advertisements and, flings you over to the Candy Crush, application in the App Store from time to time. Okay, I get that. It's pretty easy to see where that app is getting its revenue from. But on this one, because it doesn't do any of that, and it just kind of seems to function nicely, you kind of look at it and go, okay, what's happening in the background and what are they getting? So I ran into another Kickstarter campaign. Now, the last one that I did was on a laser razor, and that one got kicked off of Kickstarter, because they didn't have anything that worked. We'll see how this one goes, although, quite honestly, it's more for the humor of it than anything else. This one is Blade Life Extender Shaving Cream. Yeah, Blade Life Extender Shave Cream. Okay. So Mike is the inventor of the BLE shave cream or Blade Life Extender. Like many of us, Mike was tired of paying high prices for razor blades. So, nearly 6 years ago, he began experimenting, mixing different bathroom ingredients together and discovered that his razor blades were lasting longer with his new formulation for shave cream. He doesn't have a background in chemistry. He utilized a contact he had in the cosmetics industry to begin work with a California cosmetics lab. And so they created this stuff, BLE shave cream. And supposedly, this is good. Consumer Products Testing Company independently tested this stuff. And there were 2 clinical trials, and the independent testing was very successful with 92% of test subjects shaving for 56 days and still achieving a comfortable shave with Blade Life Extender. This is compared to only 6% of subjects using a leading shave cream brand, reaching day 56 still achieving a comfortable shave. Okay, so people were going 2 months with normal shave cream at a rate of 6% and 92% with this stuff. It's got a patent pending and all this other stuff. And okay, that's nice. That's good. But it's just, okay, it's gotten to the point now where we're creating stuff that is extending the life of blades. Which then again begs the question. If you can come up with something that extends the life of a blade within a shave cream, just what are they putting in the cans of goo? Because I absolutely guarantee that any maker of foamed shaving cream that comes in a pressurized can absolutely will not create something that allows a blade to last a month or even 2 to get out on the market. They want those blades gone quick, and the quicker the better, because that's where the profit is. It's amazing how this stuff works, but yes, indeed, those $4 cartridges, that's where the big money lies. And if you can get those things to wear out faster and sooner, or better yet, have them give 1 or 2 just absolutely fabulous shaves and then jump off a cliff into just something that is just terrible, to the point where someone will quickly and thankfully throw that one away and put on a new cartridge at the tune of $4. Wow, now you're really talking money, aren't you? Yeah. Meanwhile, my Treat carbon blades that are $2.50 for a 10-pack, so 25 cents a piece. For the same $4, I can easily be shaving for, well, a long, long time. You know, a blade lasts probably about a week for me. And so at $2.50 for 10 blades, well, there's 10 weeks. You know, and so the math is really easy to do, and it just kind of goes to really great savings. And the other thing that always makes me wonder is I have tried some of the shaving creams and things that come in these tubes that are new and improved. I'm sorry, give me an old jar of soap or decent cream any day of the week. Because some of this new stuff, the last one I tried, toothpaste. It just smelled like toothpaste. Didn't like it at all. Anyhow, I will put a link on this. He's got 33 days to go, and, well, so far doesn't have a whole lot of takers, so maybe everybody else is seeing through this one too. Well, I got busted. So, while I was out of town last week, as I was coming back past, well, one of my favorite places to go and buy things. And that happens to be one of the ham radio outlet stores. And it's not a big store, but it does have a lot of stuff in it. And, well, a lot of that stuff is expensive. So I didn't buy a whole lot, but, yeah, so I come home and, I bought a new antenna and, a book and what else did I get? Did I get, let's see, an antenna, a book, and something for the window so that I could pass antenna coax through the window easily. So all in all, call it $200. So I get home in time for the football game on Friday night to go out with my wife to see the high school football game, our typical date night in the fall. And so, I'm home, I get ready, and off we go. And on the way to the football game, I asked my wife because I realized that I have, about $4 left in my pocket, and I don't even have enough to, get in the door. So I asked my wife, I say, so dear, do you happen to have enough money for the, to get in for the game? And she's like, yes, but what happened to the cash that you took for your trip? Now, I could have said, well, I used it on my trip, but no, I said, well, I stopped off at the ham radio store. She's like, uh-huh. And what did you get? And I told her, and she said, really? Really? Dang, busted. It's kind of one of those things, you go out to an antique shop or to an estate sale and you find something that is just really fabulous in the arena of shaving and you pick it up and you're happy and you're almost giddy with excitement and you come home and you show it to your wife and she goes, really? Really? Come on. And I'm sorry, there's just something that is terribly deflating about that whole thing. It's just, busted. Don't. Okay, so apparently, I have been taking my ties off incorrectly for years, or at least so says the Gentleman's Gazette. And there is a video that they put out, which I thought was rather interesting. Makes a lot of sense. How to untie and take off your tie and how to get rid of wrinkles. I'm going to have to try this, especially for the wrinkle part. I have a bunch of ties, and I would like to keep them in decent shape because some of them are, not very inexpensive, let's put it that way. And so it was very nice to actually see this video and go, yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of like some of the other things that I've run into in my life. Who knew? It's one of those things that, the first way that he shows as to how to take a tie, that's how I've been doing it for, 35 years? Seems rather amazing. Yeah. So it is interesting because there are a lot of things out there that when you don't have somebody taking the time to teach you how to do things, like wet shaving or tying a tie or taking a tie off or, doing some of these other things. At some point I wonder if people actually, showed their sons how to do this kind of stuff because if they did, I missed out. And, so there you go. Interesting video. I'll put a link in the show notes. I pulled this one up off of Facebook. Somebody had a link to this, and I'm sorry, this is just absolutely cool. This guy took a 3D printer, and he printed himself an electric violin, and it is, it's pretty cool. An electric violin that can be 3D printed. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, now we're making musical instruments. Now we're, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And the prices of 3D printers are coming down. And in fact, on one website that I found, they'll actually print, safety razors, 3D print safety razors. And so, when you stop and think about it, if you have the ability to draw with a AutoCAD or SolidWorks or something like that, now all of a sudden you can actually create fairly inexpensively. And if you have a makerspace, it's really great because, well, then you can use their 3D printer. And that's just neat. It's really interesting to see where the technology is taking us and where the technology is going. One can easily think of very mysterious shapes and forms that can be used for, well, something like a razor stand or a brush stand or something to hold a pen or something like that. The sky's the limit. Your imagination is pretty much on the verge of just, being unconstrained as far as what you can imagine and create. And that is an absolutely beautiful thing. It really is. Now, granted, there are some things that, people make and you go, maybe not. But something like this? Yeah, good stuff. Alrighty then. Well, I thought that it would end. I thought that we could get away with it, or get away from it. But again, it's raining. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's been raining all night long. Holy cow. Anyhow. Oh well. Luckily, we're in the higher country, and hopefully this doesn't create messes or problems, well, downhill. Anyhow, let's talk about the shave of the day. All right, so the shave of the day. Now, I've been using Deluxe Shaving Company's new soap, Rocker, and again, the only thing I smelled was grass. Okay. It's okay, but it wasn't one of those things that I was thrilled about. So, looking around my stash of soaps, I just reached down and grabbed the nearest one. It happened to be Windjammer from Mystic Water. So, Mystic Water is a tallow-based soap, and in the past, people have said, I've got a hard problem, I've got an issue with lathering this soap. I never have. And I'm thinking, okay, just upon reflection and with the conversations that I've had with people, is that's because I have exceedingly soft water. And so I'm very blessed in that regard. But with that said, I soaked up a Samog brush and proceeded to lather up the Mystic Water Windjammer, which is an absolutely wonderful rendition of an Old Spice soap. So here I am. Now, one of the things I noticed is I used my my Samog Owners Club brush, which is a big brush. Okay, that brush is just about too big for the size format of of that soap, which is like I don't know, 3.5 inches or so. It's not 4 inches, but it's probably 3.5 inches, somewhere in there. And, of course, it's filled right to the top. And so as you lather, the soap just pretty much wants to go, well, everywhere. Which is not necessarily bad or a problem. It's just something that I've noticed in recent days that, boy, it sure is convenient when the things are only about half full, and that way the soap is, well, a bit more contained. Okay. It's not a necessity. It's just one of those things that's, well, it's kind of nice. And so it tells me a couple of things. Number one, I should either look for soaps that have that, where they're only filled about halfway up in the container to begin with, or I should start using my soaps more and wear them down to where I want them. But that's going to take a while. Anyhow, the Windjammer provided an absolutely luxurious Old Spice scent that pretty much filled the bathroom and just made for an absolutely pleasant shaving experience. Did the first pass with the Treat carbon steel blade and in the Fat Boy, and let's see, I think I had it on a 5. I have debated I have it. It is so smooth on a 5. I have debated opening it up and putting it on like a 7 just to see what it would do. It's one of those things where, okay, yeah, I could open it up, but then at the same time, if I do that, I have the risk of razor burn and all that. So I have a little trepidation, but it has been something that has crossed my mind. So single pass with the Fat Boy and the carbon steel double-edged blade, and then finished up with my straight razor. In this particular instance, my case straight razor. I've used my case or my bell, but I just really enjoy my case. It's and I'm thinking it's the thin blade that I enjoy. I'll have to take a picture for this episode to show you the different variations in widths that I have for my blades. And my case blade is, well, such a narrower blade that it's just, well, it's almost convenient. It's just nice. Now, on the other hand, I have seen blades. I was watching one, Aaron posted one up on Facebook the other day, and I'll admit, it is on my bucket list too, to take a piece of steel and fabricate a blade out of it and then shave with said blade. Yeah, it's definitely a bucket list. But I gotta tell you, the blade that this guy made, my gosh, it was 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. It was like, holy cow. But at the same time, it was just cool. But for me anyhow, I really enjoy the thinner blade. And it just seems to be easier for me to manipulate, move, and just, well, shave with. So from that aspect, the case it was. Now, to finish off, once I had everything cleaned up and did a good job on it, and it did do a very nice job. It really did. To finish off, I went downstairs and grabbed the vintage bottle of Avon Spicy that Joel sent me way back when, and topped it off with, again, an Old Spice scent. And so I'm walking out today, or driving out today, with, well, kind of a vintage feel, if you will, 1970s feel maybe, between the, or maybe a little earlier, between the Fat Boy and the straight razor and the boar brush and then the Avon Spicy. It just kind of sets a tone and, well, kind of nice. Reminiscing just a tad, if you will, as I drive down the road. Looking forward to, well, what today brings. Well, there's another great blog post over on Sharpologist. The blog post is The Standard Shave, and this was written by Doug Hansford, and he writes a blog on shaving and has had some interesting experiments on shaving technique recently. And Mantic59 asked him to consolidate his thoughts for Sharpologist. So it starts off, here, I'll just read some of it. Though I enjoy having a very close shave, I, like some others, have facial skin that won't tolerate 3-pass shaves every day. So I've struck a bargain between my obsession for a close shave and my distaste for raw, wounded facial skin. I've experimented with technique options for optimizing my daily shaves without making 3 full passes. An old-school perspective, the standard shave. Most men the world over and throughout history, if they shaved at all, took a single pass. And I would also suggest that most didn't shave daily, some perhaps only every week or for special occasions. A single pass shave with any lone shaving edge will shave close enough to look acceptably tidy on most men, although will not give close to a baby smooth result for many either. Yet, if one compares this single-pass shave to being bearded, all rough and woolly, a single-pass shave is pretty darn clean and smooth by comparison. This is why it's appropriate to call a single-pass with the grain shave a standard shave. It is the standard against which other, better shaves are judged, and it's likely the historical norm for shaving. It can also be good for the psyche by rallying against the imperatives of a close shave obsession to take a standard shave, that is, one pass with the grain daily, when a closer shave isn't really needed, not only does it help one get more comfortable with a merely good enough shave, it can also help the skin restore itself for those days when you want better than a standard shave. Okay, I wholeheartedly agree. And for me, okay, the standard shave, one pass, every now and then I'll do that, and it's a socially acceptable shave. It truly is. But it is not baby smooth, no doubt about that. And he goes on to talk about optimizing the standard shave and some of the ways that you can do for strokes and doing the Gillette slide. He talks about that a little bit, buffing and some of those things. And then he also talks about tag teaming razors. Now this struck my fancy just a little bit, and I read a little bit further into it. And he talks about starting off with the standard shave, single pass with the grain, and then he goes and does another pass. Now, what I have found and what I have been experimenting with is I will take the first pass, which is the with the grain pass, the standard shave, if you will. And then what I have been doing is I have been touching up in those areas that are comfortable and that work well. I have been touching up with a straight razor, basically doing a pass against the grain with my straight razor. And what I found is that for the most part, I can get an absolutely beautiful shave in 2 passes with a little touch-up, because there's a couple spots under my neck that I cannot get with a straight razor very easily, and so having the safety razor really is good for those areas. Now he also talks about cleanup strokes and things like that, and so it really is a good article. I really did enjoy the blog post, and as always, you can find that on Sharpologist. And again, there's nothing wrong with socially acceptable. The standard shave, as he describes, for me is just fine. And quite honestly, I have the feeling that there are a lot of men out there who do that, and who do that with their cartridge razors and their foam in a can, because they're the ones, quite honestly, that I notice need a shave. Because I look at it and I go, okay, how close did he shave, or how close did he shave? And it's something that, I don't know, after doing this podcast for a while, it's just one of those, I don't know, habits you get into, I guess. It's not really judging, it's more curiosity than anything else. And, it's almost become second nature at this point. But you can tell that sometimes they get a very close shave, and other times they don't. And you know what? That's just fine. And so he does have a point. In fact, actually, one of the best times that I found for a standard shave is on the weekend, when I wake up late. Because if I shave after having woken up late and not really getting started until, by the time I get out of the shower and everything else, I mean, it's noon. Half the day is gone. And if I have a really good shave then come Sunday morning, when there's other things that I need to do out in society, well, it's a little bit more work to get a really, really close shave, because there's just not a lot of stuff to work with. And sometimes having a little bit more stubble actually makes it easier to shave. So anyhow, check out Sharpologist. Check out, I'll put a link in the show notes, but Sharpologist always has good stuff over there, and this blog post by Doug is one of them. So I haven't talked about Tri-Blade for a while, so here goes. Tri-Blade's come out with, mini samplers. Not sure what you're looking for, and not sure where to start, or looking to try a set of blades? Check out our double-edged mini samplers. So here you go. You got a top 10 sampler with Astras, Personas, Feathers, Gillette Silver Blues, Vauxhall, Derbies. Yeah, good stuff. And this is the one I like, the Treat Blade Sampler. I'm going to have to get one of these. Classic carbon steel, new edge carbon, New Steel, 7-day platinum, maybe, Carbon Steel, Falcon, King Super Stainless, New, Platinum, and Silver Carbon Steel. Now, I happen to have found an enjoyment in carbon steel blades made by Treat. I'm going to have to try some of these just to see what the different varieties offer. And that's for, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 blades for $1.80. Man, that's hard to go wrong with. Or how about, they got a budget blade sampler. It's 5 blades. Let's see. 5 blades for 95 cents. A Rapira blade sampler for $1.96. A Russian blade sampler. A Gillette blade sampler. Now, that's got a few more blades in it. It's a little bit more expensive, but wow. Here's one. The Carbon blade sampler with all the Treat carbon blades. That may be on the... that may be something I get. Or a coating sampler. Platinum, stainless, iridium, chrome. Yeah. Luxury blade sampler. The Feather, New High Stainless. The Gillette Silver Blue. The Kai Stainless Steel. The Persona Med Prep. And the Pulse Silver Super Iridium. Yeah. Or then there's the Around the World sampler. Blades from Turkey, Japan, United States, Israel, Egypt, and Pakistan. Good stuff. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Tri-Blade, go check out Tri-Blade if you're looking for blades. Now, one of the things, like I've always said, is that you run into a situation where you have a lot of variables in shaving. You truly do. You have razor, you have technique, you have soap, you have brush, you have, the hydration of the soap, the hydration of your face prep. But then, at the end of it all, you have the blade, as well as the angle and everything else, but the blade. It can make the difference between a setup that works adequately and one that just absolutely sings. And if you work to find the one that really works well for you, it's almost magical. It truly is. And so Tri-Blade is a great way, an absolute great way to get a hold of some double-edged razor blades at a reasonable cost. Now, what I would suggest, this is just me, I would suggest getting 2 or 3 blades of every type, because what I found is every now and then you run into one that, just isn't made right. It happens. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And you'd hate to base a choice on something that, didn't work quite right. And for the prices that they charge, it's not a whole lot of money. So give Tri-Blade a chance, and I know I've been happy with them. I still have a couple of blades floating around that I haven't tried from the last time I ordered from them. But, I'm going to have to throw something else in the cart there and, try a blade. All right, so the shave of the day today. So the shave of the day today, we kind of took just a trip down memory lane. So the soap that I used was a soap that really is a trip down memory lane. It was back in the day, How to Grow a Mustache Douglas over there got a hold of a soap stick from an old Gillette set. Okay, so an old Gillette soap stick. And he worked to, recreate the same type of stick. Same size, same smells, maybe not the same performance, because probably the performance that I get out of the How to Grow a Mustache stick is, I would think probably better, or at least the same, but I would think better, as the old Gillette stick. Okay, so, when that first came out, it was kind of a nostalgic thing, and so I bought one or two, I can't remember. Anyhow, the stick has basically sat in a bin under my sink for a year, probably about a year. That's probably where I would guess. Okay, so soaked up the old Badger brush, the Nathan Clark Badger brush, and proceeded to lather up, apply stick to face and lather up. And it was interesting. There was a distinctive odor with the stick that I was not expecting. It had lost some of its, as I remember it, it had just kind of a pleasant, almost fruity, limey smell. But it had lost that, and so, instead of, I hate to say this, it smelled like soap. Duh. But anyhow, we applied it on there and rubbed the stick all over, and then proceeded to take a nice warm brush and work up a lather, and just do a bit of face lathering there, and did the first pass with my Fat Boy and my Treat carbon steel blade, which it's probably time to change, but did a pretty good job for a first pass. And then I finished up with one of my straight razors, and then just a quick touch up on the neck with the Fat Boy. And all in all, a great shave. Very, very happy with the performance. Now, again, this is a stick that's been sitting open for a year. So it's dried a bit, okay, but it still performs beautifully. Really, really impressive. I mean, it's just, for something that has been around that long out in the open, and under normal circumstances, one would expect it to just almost dry up and blow away. To have it be able to function and perform the way it did, I was most impressed. Now, the sad part, of course, is that I went to the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements website just to see, do they still make this? And no, in fact, they don't. But if enough people, thumped on the door of Mr. Douglas Smythe and said, hey, this would be nice to have back from time to time, we might be able to talk him into it. But overall, yeah, great success, and really, really enjoy that soap. It's good stuff. And one of the things that I enjoy, especially as it gets cooler in the season, is, face lathering. Because the brush, one of the things that I've noticed is that the brush stays warm, or at least I feel the warmth on my face anyhow longer. When I bowl lather, the heat from the brush kind of dissipates into the bowl unless I've pre-warmed it, and even then sometimes it just, escapes, if you will. However, I'm going to try a few things to help with that too. But for now, the nice thing about face lathering is that initial warmth of the brush, especially a badger brush, which retains a lot more moisture than a boar or a synthetic. So it is just a nice feature, kind of adding a touch of elegance, if you will, to your routine. It's just, throw that nice warm brush up there and just lather away. And yeah, when you first start off, it's a little messy and stuff maybe has a tendency or desire to go everywhere, but all in all, it's well worth it, because you end up with just a great feel, and if you're using the correct components, a great shave. So I came across this blog post, which, sort of echoed what I was talking about back in episode 60, The Demise of Men. This one is written by Jacob Bass, and it's titled, The Dying Breed of Real Men. I once thought I was strong because I could bench press 365 pounds and felt like the Hulk after a little workout. I once thought I was strong because people looked at me and I could tell they were impressed or intimidated by my height and build. When I became a husband and father, I've come to realize this is a feeble and laughable strength. Real strength is when a husband and a father gets out of bed every day for years on end before the sun comes up, leaving his wife and children sleeping peacefully, and puts in a 12-hour workday. Real strength is coming home to a colicky newborn baby and a wife that is past what she can endure and taking over for the night because you can't afford to be weak and let them suffer. Real strength is making dinner, cleaning the dishes, doing a load of laundry, taking out the trash, and fixing the old high-mileage pickup truck so you can get to work the next day. Real strength is holding your baby girl in your arms as she falls asleep instantly because she has complete faith in you. So what happened to men of real strength and character? Every day the media tells us about how a feminist idol made it big or a homosexual crossdresser became a hero, while a soldier who gave his life for his country is a villain. It seems the American culture is more concerned with idolizing the shocking and unconventional lifestyles of Hollywood playboys and lying politicians than they are with what happens in real-life America. So again, I ask, what happened to the real men, husbands, and fathers of America? Why did they seem to be ignored or non-existent? The answer is obvious. So obvious that it's shocking. The real men, the men who are building America, blazing trails, keeping the country running, underappreciated and overworked as if it is expected and not worth taking note of, these men are too busy to give a rip. These men are too busy waking up while it's still dark outside, working 12 hours a day, coming home and taking care of their wives and children, fixing their old pickup truck, rocking their babies to sleep, and getting their families to church every Sunday to care about publicizing themselves, seeking public spectacle or validation of obscene vanity. So to the real American men, regardless of color, creed, or politics, this is a tribute to you. You are the glue that holds your family together. You are the driving force for the economy, regardless of all the Washington politicians' best attempts to take credit for it. You are the ones making a real and lasting difference in the world because you're building a life for yourself and your family while carrying freeloaders, exploiters, and societal leeches on your backs in the form of excessive taxes. Without your selfless, devoted, hard-working men of integrity, we wouldn't have a country to call our own or the freedom to live in the pursuit of happiness. So, in the unlikely chance that you get a break this week, sit back in your easy chair, have yourself a cool drink, and pat yourself on the back. No one else will, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, you're a real man, and you don't need them to. Great article. I'll put a link in the show notes. Well, that concludes this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you have some suggestions or would like a topic covered, drop me an email at brushandsoapandblade@gmail.com or give me a call at 864-372-6234 or contact us on Twitter at Brush and Blade. You can also visit us at our blog, brushandsoapandblade.wordpress.com. As always, we're available on iTunes and Stitcher.